What's up, everybody? It's your boys Thomas and Cody from Savant. In this video, we're capping off the Western Conference preview for the NBA playoffs. Should be a great year of basketball in terms of the playoff this year. If you haven't watched our previous video on the Eastern Conference, go check that out. We dive into the three series versus the Cavs and the Raptors, the Celtics and the Sixers, and the Knicks versus the Hawks. But without further ado, let's jump in. Thomas has his takes on the Nuggets versus Timberwolves.
Yep, Nuggets and T-Wolves. This is the most exciting series, in my opinion, in the first round on both the East and West side. I cannot wait for this series. I gave it a max score, a 10 out of 10 on the watchability rating. I mean, these two teams do not like each other. They know each other well. They play each other very hard. And this is the third time these two teams have met in the past 4 years in the playoffs. Nuggets took the first one in 5, and then a few years back, the Wolves took it in 7 on the Nuggets home court. We got a ton of pace, ton of offensive firepower, bunch of stars that can clutch up. So I think we're going to see a few game winners here and there. I mean, we got Edwards, Murray, Jokic, and Gordon, all who have playoff game winners in their career. And I think either team can win this series. So I think it's going to come down to a final seventh deciding game and be highly competitive. And my X factor for this series is Cam Johnson, the 3-and-D replacement for MPJ, who at times looked unfocused and uninterested and could not hit down the open threes that other teams forced him to make as they shut down Joker, Murray, and Gordon. This is Johnson's time to prove that he was truly a worthy replacement and the missing piece they need to get back to the championship and get Joker that second ring. Yes, the season started off slow, riddled with some injuries, but also some bad play. That's normal as you're getting used to a team, especially as the Nuggets, as they play at a very fast pace. But if he can hit down his shots like he did towards the end of the season, where he got hot, shooting close to 50% and crash the boards consistently, then the Wolves are in big trouble. My best bet in the series is taking the Wolves at plus 1.5 games. Like I said, I think this comes down to 7 games. I think either of these two teams has a chance at winning this series. The Wolves are just too talented to be priced like this. I think you get plus like 110 on FanDuel. And we know the Nuggets, as talented as they are, and I do feel like the core pieces that they have and the new pieces that they have acquired give them a possibility to win a championship this year. But they love to play with their food. These giant spreads they get are not appropriate, especially with a clutch player like Anthony Edwards on the other side and a Wolves team that was built to beat them.
Absolutely love that take from you. I'm a huge fan of this series in general. I've been to a couple of the playoffs games against Nuggets and Timberwolves. It's just a great matchup. You're right. Nuggets can't ever seem to just blow a team out of the water or do what they need to do. Anthony Edwards is a magician come crunch time, right? Very much a clutch player in the NBA. So I definitely think it's going 6 or 7. I hope the Nuggets win because I do want it to become a true rivalry here where, both teams can start talking a little smack to each other. Cam Johnson's an awesome X factor. I think they expected way more out of him this season for sure, replacing MPJ. It's okay he had to deal with some injuries, but now's the time for him to shine, get his contract's worth for this franchise, and hopefully just make this a very competitive series. Now, moving on to the Rockets versus Lakers. I think everybody would agree that this could have been an 8 or a 9 watchability score if everybody was completely healthy. But with Reeves dealing with an oblique injury and Luka sidelined indefinitely with his own issues, this becomes a 6.5 out of 10. The only reason I think it even can rate this high is because it's still LeBron versus KD at the end of the day. This is two historical giants in the game of basketball that are matching up against each other. I think LeBron's going to give it his all. Maybe he might be on his way back to Cleveland or somewhere else this offseason, but I don't think it's going to be that competitive of a series. The Rockets are really starting to heat up a little bit. KD's legacy is on the line a little bit too, right? He's got a very competitive team that's both good offensively and defensively next to him. LeBron's legacy against Jordan, maybe how many wins he has in the playoffs. He's just boosting up his stats for all time sake, of course, but I don't think this is going to be very competitive at all. I think the Rockets take it in 4, maybe 5 max, depending if LeBron can, do some magic, I guess you could say at the end of the day. It's the final chapter, right, between LeBron and KD. Who knows if they'll ever see each other in the playoffs again. But now it's time to shine for the Rockets, right? You have young guys like Amen Thompson, Alfred Sengun, who are trying to make their own legacies for their franchises. So that's what we want to look out for here. This is some rematch energy from long time ago, but I just think it's, very small, very dwindled away at this point. Rockets should be able to do whatever they want. They can either up the pace because who's going to stop them, or they can slow down the pace because who's going to stop them. There's a bunch of guys who not a lot of people know about playing defense and will be on the court for the Lakers, which is sad, but it just is what it is. Injuries are a part of the game, and we just have to deal with it as fans. But With that being said, my X factor is one of my favorite players in the league, Amen Thompson. He is an absolute stud. This guy is an athletic freak, and he absolutely kills the Lakers in every single matchup he's played against them. He's averaging 23 points and 10 rebounds against the Lakers. He's just really athletic, and nobody can keep up with him. LeBron's 2 steps behind. Help side D doesn't matter when he has a 50-inch vertical, right? There's just so many reasons to be excited about Amen Thompson's game, and he's become quite literally the 2-3 option, if Sangoon's not on behind KD to really anchor this team to success this year. So he's my X factor. I think he's just going to be all over the court, dishing assists, rebounds. I think you could take his PRA in almost every game if you wanted. I'm assuming the line's going to be at like 28 to 30 ish, and he should be able to kill that in most games. And yeah, Thomas, any thoughts on that? Any farewell wishes for this LeBron KD matchup?
Yeah, a bit sad that this is how it comes to an end between the KD and LeBron playoff rivalry, but this is how it goes sometimes. Without Luka Reeves, the Lakers stand no chance. They don't have enough scoring ability, and completely agree with you. This could get ugly fast. The Rockets should dominate in 4 or 5. So let's move to the Spurs and Blazers. I actually rated this one quite high at 7.8. I think people are sleeping on this series. I think it's an underrated series. I think we're only going to get 5 games, so not a whole lot of games, but I'm expecting all 5 of those games to be quite competitive. If you watch the Spurs throughout the season, yes, they won a lot of games, but most of those games came down to the wire. They just knew how to clutch up, and I think they will do that here. So, not a whole lot of history here, and not a whole lot of offensive firepower, but I think we're going to get some great defense on both sides, which means some highlight blocks by Wemby, maybe some pickpockets stealed by Drew Holiday. We're going to see a bunch of contested shots. So, when those shots go in, man, is it going to feel good? In both of these cities, we know we're going to get up for it. They both have been on a 5-year playoff drought. So, both Portland and San Antonio are going to be buzzing and busting for all of these games, especially if they come down to the wire. And a bunch of young, rising stars on both teams. Wimby, Castle, Denny, Scoot Henderson. So I am quite excited for this series. My main storyline for this one is just the amount of firsts that is happening across the board for both of these young, rising teams. This is the first playoff series for most of these players and coaches. How will Mitch Johnson, Thiago Splitter fare in a full-length NBA playoff series? Will they be able to play the chess match and make the adjustments on the fly that they need to get their teams to win? On the Blazers, we got young players like Henderson, Denny, Klingon, will they be able to rise to the occasion? The Spurs, Castle, Harper, and of course Wemby. Can he start off his playoff legacy with a bang? Can he bring the Spurs franchise back to its glory days? Or are they just going to be a regular season darling that wins a bunch of games but then chokes in the playoffs? I can't wait to see what these guys do. I can't wait to see what the alien does in his first ever playoff series. And finally, my best bet for this series is taking Denny Avdija as the total points leader by the end of the series at almost 2-1 to your money. I think this is the greatest value on the board. Look, the Spurs got a ton of offensive weapons. I think they're going to spread the wealth around. We'll see a Wemby game. We'll see a Castle game. Probably see a Fox game at some point. Whereas the Blazers completely rely on Denny on the offensive end to stay competitive. So I think that's exactly what we see. I think we'll see a few 30-point games, maybe even a 40 bomb, right? In game 3 or 4, a home game for the Blazers. Maybe Denny will put on a show to try to keep the Blazers season alive. So grab this value while you can. Cody, what are your thoughts on this series?
I love all your points in this one. It's a lot of firsts for both of these teams, and I think that there's a beauty in that, right? It kind of makes it a little bit unpredictable. We assume that the Spurs will handle this series, easily, but with that being said, Avdia is playing out of his mind right now. We just saw him clutch it up in the playing game. I think they have a lot of talent on their team. They might need another year or two to put it together, as we kind of think that that's where the Spurs are already at, right? But I definitely can see them taking a game. I think we should include a segment that is basically like a good fucking luck to Donovan Klingon, because good luck guarding Wembanyama. It's going to be really tough for him. He's going to be dragged out to the 3-point line. He's going to be blocked, out rebounded, and Wemby's going to definitely be able to make his mark in this series. So I do appreciate that take. I'm a little excited. The Blazers are a fun team. They definitely are exciting to watch. They got a lot of really athletic players. They do have a guy who's won 2 championships in Holiday. I don't think it'll be a walk in the park, but I think the Spurs will be prepared for this battle and kind of ascend to where we all think they should be, which is hopefully in the Western Conference Finals, competing for championships for the next decade.
And that is a wrap, folks, for the Western Conference Round 1 playoff series. If you haven't already, check out our earlier video where we cover the Eastern Conference for Round 1. Stay tuned for some reactionary content as we react to the Round 1 ups and downs, as well as for Round 2. We will do full in-depth videos for all 4 of those series, so stay tuned for that. Like, subscribe, leave a comment below. Let us know what we're doing right, what we're doing wrong. We're just trying to improve, and we're excited to cover all this NBA content for you. And as always, thanks for watching.